Transformers, the much beloved franchise from the 1980s. Obviously the toy franchise itself, and a franchise which has now spawned multiple films of varying quality and varying box office success and critical success. Now, a new report from Deadline stated that dual Transformers movies are in the works at Paramount. This is not a surprise. Transformers is one of Paramount's biggest properties. In fact, Paramount really don't have anything. They really do need Transformers to come back on the board here, because again they have some other projects here and there, but nothing as big or as financially successful as Transformers has been for them in the past. Now, the report from Deadline states, Transformers, the IP that never dies, based on the 1980s toy franchise with the slogan, "More than meets the eye," is being developed again at Paramount with two projects, one by murder mystery scribe James Vanderbilt, and the other by John Wick Chapter 3 and Army of the Dead scribe Joby Harold. Now, the interesting nature of all of this is actually the fact that one of them is set to be a reboot. Now, we're going to take a look at each of these scribes and their histories and things like that and see whether they are a good fit for the Transformers property. But yeah, Transformers is being rebooted. So the Vanderbilt project, from what Deadline has heard, is based on the Transformers spin-off Beast Wars, which are robots that transform into robotic animals like Cheetor, Optimus Primal, which is a gorilla, and Rhinox, which is obviously a rhinoceros. Now, Vanderbilt himself has been on the project since April, which is quite a long time, actually, and there's news today that the other project is also based in the Bumblebee universe, and that's the one from Joby Harold. Now, the Deadline report continues, the franchise, including spin-off Bumblebee, has amassed over $4.8 billion worldwide over 6 titles, and that's not including the incredibly lucrative merchandise that would have been sold for this franchise as well. 4.8 billion is actually nothing by comparison to what the merchandise would have accumulated for Paramount. However, the report continues that Bumblebee, which was expected to be a rejuvenation of the blockbuster series, was the lowest grossing installment with 468 million worldwide during the 2018 year-end holiday season, going up against Aquaman. Now, there's some really important stuff to note here, because although Deadline is correct that yes, Bumblebee was the lowest, it was the rejuvenation of the franchise, but we'll get into that in a second. Now, let's take a look at James Vanderbilt's writing credits to see if he is a good fit for the Transformers franchise. Now, back in 2003, he wrote 3 films, the screenplay for anyway: Darkness Falls, Basic, and Welcome to the Jungle. Nothing too crazy there for a Transformers film. There's nothing there which really jumps out as him being a good pick. In 2007, he wrote Zodiac, and then in 2010, The Losers, and then it sort of picks up, but then also drops down, unfortunately. He did the screenplay and story for The Amazing Spider-Man, which is fine, but then he also did The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was the screen story, and he also did White House Down. So he actually seems to be a bit of a no-brainer for the Transformers franchise, on the premise that all you want is just crash, bang, action, which is a shame, because the Transformers film that he is rumoured for is, of course, Beast Wars. And if all we're going to be getting is crash, bang, wallop, and a CGI mess like we were getting with the Michael Bay films, then ultimately that's a shame. That's not going to be a rejuvenation of the franchise that they are hoping for. Now, it's not just that, because he continues, and he also did Independence Day Resurgence, screenplay, Murder Mystery, screenplay, and then from then on it's just works which are in production, or at least in pre-production. So in terms of his filmography, James Vanderbilt is not someone I would say is actually a good pick for this. In fact, I genuinely think that he's going to be really a shame. I think that Paramount have chosen him because they want to replicate what Michael Bay has done. Vanderbilt for a Beast Wars, I don't hold out much hope for it, just based off of his previous work. There's nothing there which jumps out to me as being exceptional, which is a shame. It strikes me that Paramount don't really take the property that seriously. Now, Joby Harold, as per the Deadline report, is going to be writing the Bumblebee universe spin-off, and his writing credits are actually few and far between. He did Awake, and then he did King Arthur, and that was it. He also did Army of the Dead, which is, of course, with Zack Snyder. So we can't really judge Joby Harold as yet. But let's take a look at the franchises overall, because the Deadline report is somewhat misleading, I would say, with respect to Bumblebee. If we take a look at the average IMDb ratings, and yes, IMDb is not the be-all and end-all, but the original Transformers, which dropped in 2007, had a 7 rating from IMDb, and then it gradually went downhill from there. We had a 6 from Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, a 6.2 of Transformers Dark of the Moon, and then again kind of plummets from there. We had Transformers Age of Extinction at a 5.6, Transformers The Last Night at a 5.2, and then the supposed rejuvenation that Deadline state, and then kind of knock it back by saying it didn't earn that much. Bumblebee had an average rating of 6.8. So although it didn't do that well financially, it genuinely was a rejuvenation for the franchise because it was a critical success and also an audience success. Now, if we look at the numbers that all of these films took, again, the IMDb correlates to that. 2007's Transformers took 700 million, Revenge of the Fallen was 830 million, and then Dark of the Moon and Age of Extinction both respectively took over $1 billion, which is just insane. And then it plummets from there. The Last Night only took 600 million, but Bumblebee took $465.1 million with a relatively small budget of only $102 million, which is not too bad for a CGI heavy Transformers film. Now, like I said, these are due to be, one's due to be a complete reboot. The Beast Wars project is set to be a reboot or a type of reboot, which is very, very interesting. I am surprised that they're going down that route, but not surprised. I can't imagine we're going to get Optimus Prime in there anywhere. And we also had some of this anyway. We had the dinosaur Transformers drop in there previously. And the aesthetic was fine, but I'm sure a lot of people would be wanting a return to the sort of G1 aesthetic. Now, for myself, Beast Wars is something which I am not hugely familiar with. It was past my time when I was a fan of Transformers. So I am cautiously optimistic about both of these projects. I do think Vanderbilt is potentially not the right man for the job, but he may surprise us. Just judging by his previous filmography, though, it's not that good. So it will be surprising to see what actually comes out from the project. Now, the Joby Harold one, I think that's the one to look out for. That's the one which is going to be set in the Bumblebee universe. And what does that tell us? Are they going to be slowly shaping that off into its own new universe, new thing? Initially, when it dropped, it was rumored to be a semi-reboot, a soft reboot. So maybe they're trying to spin that off as well. Who knows? It's a bit of a surprise, but I do think that Paramount don't take this property very seriously, which is a shame because it has made a lot of money for them in the past and could again if they treat it with the respect that it deserves and the respect that it should have. Because again, this franchise could make a lot of money for them, and they need to because they really don't have anything at the moment, which is a big money earner for them. Anyway, guys, just before I go, please do hit that like button on this video. And I have been saying all week now, please, 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 please do share the content. I'm aware that a lot of you guys are not getting notifications, the videos are not popping up in recommendations, and even people are being unsubscribed from my channel. So it would seem YouTube is playing a very strange game. So I have to say it, if you think you're subscribed, double check, because you might actually not be. A lot of people weren't even aware that I did a review on The Color Out of Space, which just goes to show you are not getting the reviews, even for the content that you would have liked to have watched. So anyway, what do you guys think of all of this news? Let me know down below in the comment section. If you are new here, do hit subscribe. Stay up to date on the world of pop culture and movie news by hitting the bell notification icon. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I've been Mr. H. Take care.